once it goes live. There you go. It's already live. If you refresh now, it takes you 2 seconds. Close and that's it. Yeah, so it's live on my end. Okay. Now, you know what we're talking about, we'll cover. I mean, small businesses, FSP, sales, advice to people. Probably slightly
This is Radio Aapki Awaaz on www.aapkiawaaz.co.uk. Also on Radio Garden app.
इंसारी वेलफेयर ट्रस्ट यूके के ज़ेर एहतमाम मीरपुर आज़ाद कश्मीर में गूंगे और बहरे बच्चों की मुफ्त तालीम व तरबियत का इदारा कश्मीर इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ स्पेशल एजुकेशन कायस आपके ताउन का तलबगार। इंसारी वेलफेयर ट्रस्ट यूके Barclay Bank, source code 201188, account number 50877735, website awtuk.org. वसीम द टाबा, ताजा समोसा चाट, फ्रूट चाट, दही बल्ले, गोलगप्पे, सब्ज़ चाह ते पहली वारी आलम रॉक रोड तो ताजा गन्नियां दा जूस। जी हाँ, ताजा गन्नियां दा जूस। वसीम द टाबा, outside Lord Pizza, 32 Alam Rock Road, telephone number 07846428 Wasim the Taba.
Radio Aapkiawaaz.co.uk, bringing communities together through interfaith and social cohesion specialist shows.
Hello, assalamualaikum and good evening listeners. Welcome to the Zoheb Show. This is the weekly wellbeing and community show that I host every Wednesday, where we discuss important topics to do with community, to do with wellbeing, topics that are to do with current affairs, things that you want to be discussing, that you want to hear about. And tonight will be another very interesting episode, so please do tune in and stay tuned in with us. So whichever way you're getting involved, please do tune in via our website, www.aapkiawaaz.co.uk. If you're tuning in via the Radio Garden app and the new Hindi's radio app as well, we'd love to hear your thoughts. You can phone in on the studio number, which is 0121 682 9735. And if you're watching on social media, on the Facebook live stream, which I'm looking at right now, please let us know you're here, give us a hello. And as I said, do get involved in the discussion tonight, because it will be very interesting. So the guest tonight that I have is somebody who specialises in helping small businesses. It's fair to say that small businesses struggle to have the same impact as larger corporations, as larger brands. We know that we have a local business community. So wherever you live, wherever you're from, you will always see that small businesses are trying harder to stick together. And particularly in the time of a pandemic, they have really had a challenging time. And it's always going to be harder when you're trying to survive as a smaller entity, a smaller business. But how can we support them? How can we come together and show that togetherness? How can the community spirit help that? So I'm delighted to introduce my guest for tonight. We have Mr. Zafran Khan. How are we doing, Zaf?
Yes, Assalamualaikum, and to all the viewers, and Zoe, it's always a pleasure.
Yeah, wonderful.
And, yeah, thank you for inviting me. And I thought, we'd come along and yeah.
Yeah, no, Zaf, honestly, it's absolutely fantastic. Zaf is somebody who's been on my show previously when this was a podcast version, and he's come back again tonight, and I'm so thrilled that he's come back to share his expertise. So we'll be talking all about small businesses, talking a little bit about what Zaf does, about his role in terms of helping small businesses, and also a little bit to do with the idea of kind of like selling and sales in business. But I promise you, it won't be the kind of like the typical boring spiel that you might have heard before. So it will be something that you should be tuning into. But Zaf, for those people who don't know who you are, just give a quick summary of who you are.
Basically, my original background is from direct sales. So I'm a sales trainer. With over 28 years experience in sales. That's what I've done all my life. In B2B, business to business, and business to consumer.
Yeah.
So my first sort of journey, the first sort of 10, 15 years was in B2C. And then the last sort of 16, 17 years has been shifted into business to business. And last 3 years, I've been a part of the Federation of Small Businesses, which is a non-profit sport organisation, which is run by the members for the members. And the organisation is a campaigning lobby organisation, and that protects the interests of whether you are small, a medium business up to 250 employees, and the self-employed as well. And currently, FSB has over 165,000 members. And these members are made up, again, from self-employed, right to small, medium business, from every sector that you can think of.
Yeah.
And the organisation's ambition is to help small and medium businesses to achieve their ambitions.
Yeah. Well, tonight's episode is all about discussing the challenges that small businesses face. What would you say if you had to... excuse me for that. If you had to sum up, just tell us why do you think small businesses face these sort of challenges in terms of getting recognised?
I mean, the small and medium businesses, they're always competing, with the big boys. The big boys, what I call it, the big, large, organisations, and the smaller businesses are always challenged, and they're always faced in different challenges, in everything. And so the businesses need a strong voice behind them to tackle some of the issues, because sometimes they can't do it on their own.
Yeah.
They don't have every department that can tackle their issues, and they need somebody who can listen, and somebody who can take their problems and then tackle it for them while they concentrate on their business. Yeah.
So if I'm somebody who, I'm, let's say I'm a working professional, I like, shopping in big shopping centres, and I like buying, I like investing in bigger brands, or I like the kind of like, I like sticking to purchasing those sort of things. Why should I then consider dealing with a smaller, more local business?
I mean, smaller local businesses will give you same sort of buying something that you're looking for in the bigger brands. There's nothing wrong. I mean, stick to your bigger brands. But what I do suggest is also support your local businesses in your area.
Yeah.
So, these small businesses can be, your local cafe. So if you're going out with someone, go to a local cafe which are in your area.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you have local restaurants. So there's different sort of small businesses that you can help them as well, rather than just going bigger brands all the time as well.
Yeah.
Because the smaller businesses are the ones need more of our help.
Yeah.
Than especially of the last 2 years of this pandemic challenging, which has hit different businesses in different ways.
Do you think that small businesses or local businesses are neglected in some ways, because you said they're competing against bigger brands all the time, and then people maybe don't understand that with a smaller business, that's their livelihood, that's their, there's so much more care. I don't want to say bigger brands don't care, but at the same time, a smaller business is almost like very it can be family oriented, and it can be like a bunch of friends start it, or a person just who's got this passion to really serve their audience, their customers. But do you think they get neglected and ignored?
They do get neglected in a lot of ways at times, but especially what I've seen over the last sort of 2 years in this challenging time that we all come through is that I've seen a lot of smaller businesses come together, in different ways, in collaborating, whereas they wouldn't have probably done it before. But they've realised that, you know what, there's certain skill sets that I don't have, but other XYZ business does have. Why not merge? And I've seen that over the last time, which is great. But what I want to see, and hopefully it to stay, is that this carries on, as long as as possible.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's challenges for smaller businesses, like you said, as some businesses are run by family oriented, then it passed on down, the generations, and then you have friends that come together. They say, why not, set up a business, and when they do set up at the start, there's so many challenges that they're faced with. And if people can get together, support them in different ways. I know there's going to be a lot of listeners going to say, "Well, they don't give you as much local businesses, in terms of the deals and offers that they have." But it's good, to support them. And what you're going to find is with some of the smaller businesses, the community orientated business, so in your area.
Yeah.
So gives you more priority to to support them, as in many ways.
So as a community, and whether it's here in Birmingham, whether it's around the world, people who have smaller businesses, there might be a lot of small business owners listening to this interview right now, thinking, well, I'm a small business. How can I encourage my community to support me and get more involved?
With some of the smaller businesses, don't just see that you're just a business and see it as customers. Get to know them. Get to know your customers, because what you're going to find is most of the customers are going to be the regular. I mean, the passerby, will come now and again, but your local business people are there. So get more, interact with them more, and you'll find that they'll give you more interaction back as well. Because some do and some don't. But if I look back over our first generation, of the business that they've said, they were more community orientated. Every person that walked through that shop or through that business, they knew who that was. They knew who the parents was. So we want to bring that back, that sort of culture, and then especially like ourselves, where customers are going into a shop. And the love, affection is there as they give you back. You think, what, they're great. And again, we're living in a time where good news travels faster because of social media, and we can promote that as well, because it's all about reviews, it's all about and it's all about recommendations. So from the business point of view, they should interact more as well. With their with their communities, and do a bit more as well. I mean, there are some great businesses who do a lot of charity work in the community, and more should do something as well, and then they'll see more of it. Do
you think the definition of that term or that phrase, small business, do you think that's evolved over the years? Like, what can you remember growing up yourself, like what a small business meant back in the day compared to what it is now, for example?
I mean, back in the day, it was just like an ordinary business, and what they did, they just had their own sort of market segmentation. Now, as a smaller business, we'll do a lot of things which you expect in bigger organizations. As time has changed, and the resources and the facilities that are available. So as a business now, it's not just an ordinary business now. There's more to it. Whereas before, there was no social media, no nothing. So just a typical advertising that you did with through a leaflet to make aware that this business is is going to be set up. But now you got they got websites, you got different ways of interacting. So the noise can get is massive now. Before,
You mentioned that small businesses shouldn't label themselves as being a small business. That they should think outside the box and not place themselves in that category. But how can they do that then? How can they sort of give themselves that confidence?
Look at their own set skills and always improve. We all are good in certain skills that we have, and that's what we start with. And then you're always learning, and collaborate as well more. Whereas before, you see somebody as a competition. Don't see them as a competition. See them as a collaboration, ways of improving. And there's so many ways of if you're not going to adopt and change, but if you're employing someone who has, give them that bit, that room. for them, because it's all about your business being at the forefront. But I have seen that sort of trend and pattern sort of shifting, getting better. And there are a lot of businesses, who are doing things that they wouldn't have done before.
Yeah.
Because of the times that we're in. We're in a fast, environment time. So products change overnight, things change, and you have to keep up with that. You have to adapt and change all the time.
Well, then, do you think there's been an increase in small businesses, in terms of more small businesses have come out and started since the pandemic, for example?
I'll give you statistics that I've seen through the FSB, that they provided just in the pandemic alone last year. Going normally when you got tough times, everything will say, well, don't be stupid. You don't want to sit to me. Look, the way the market is. And you know yourself as though, every business that you get into, it's a risk factor. So you're gonna have two things. You're gonna have a patience, and you're gonna be ready to take a risk, because you don't know how it's gonna go. But in this tough time, there's been over 800,000 businesses that have been set up. People just looked at their passion, they put their emotion, everything into it, and then just followed their heart and said, right, let's just go and do it, and then see what happens. And 800,000. So for entrepreneurs and for other businesses, for the networkers like me and you, we do network. It's great because there's 800,000 businesses up around the country that we wouldn't have had before. So in this challenging time, they've been set up.
What do you think that's down to? Like, what do you think prompted those people to start
a lot of those businesses that were set up were from people who were working for bigger companies, who've been there for quite a long time. And when those business organisations faced tough time, challenge time, they had to lay them off. Redundancies came in, because that went massive. So they'd felt and decided that I'm not going to go back, to be employed. Let's do something ourselves, and that's how they did it.
Yeah.
And it's great. And I say that whatever passion, whatever drive you have, just go for it, because you're going to get. There's two sets of groups. You got the negative and you got the positive. You tell somebody, you sit with people who are positive minded. They will give you tips. They will make it. Yeah, you should go for it.
They'll encourage
and then
you.
And then they'll encourage you in a way. But the negative will always say, "Oh, you must be mad, especially in this time. You're crazy," because they always want to put you down. And I then say is that just go by heart. Just go and do it. It doesn't matter what it is. You just go and do it, and you'll see the results after.
Yeah. I think the pandemic definitely had that little bit of, I think it definitely, as you said, it definitely encouraged people. It gave people some kind of spark inside them to say, well, it's now or never kind of thing, and I'm just going to go for it. But what kind of support should a small business seek, or, so when they're starting out, because entrepreneurship and business can be a lonely place. You're starting out, you're doing everything yourself until you can afford to get other people to help you.
There are a lot of organisations out there. You got things like the Business Growth Hub. You got teams from Aston University. From these business schools who also give management courses. To get your leadership skills out there. And some of these are all free, and it's good to go onto them because it's all about your business. And it's that the more ammunition you have, the more skills that you can have and achieve. It'll be successful for your businesses.
Yeah.
And then also collaborate with different people that got different sets. Learn off them as well.
Yeah.
Don't just look at the ego. Got this business has got that. Just look at it right. Let's just get that and have mentors. Every person needs a coach, a business coach, because a business plan. You have to have a business plan to get into business. But sometimes business plan doesn't work. So you need to have a business coach, business mentors, because they'll see things of your business which you won't see because you're looking at your business to run, to survive, so forth, or achieve a certain profitability. They look at things which you don't, and they can improvise that, help you all the way. So, and that also helps. And businesses that have those in place, they're successful, they're thriving.
It's great advice because obviously, as I said, to combat that kind of loneliness and those challenges that you're facing yourself, you've then got somebody who is accountable and can help you on that journey, during that process. What sort of role do you play for small business owners
For the
yourself?
small business owners that I play with them is again my role within the FSB is I'm a business advisor, membership advisor. So when they be part of the FSB, our job is to make sure that they get the right help and put them in the right place. But other help that I always say to businesses right now, so give me an example. Okay, what's your biggest challenge? And the majority of them say my biggest challenge is that I need more clients, and I work with them. So again, so it comes down to the networking factor, right? Okay, what area do you need help in? Oh, I need somebody, for my branding. I haven't looked at that. Well, I know somebody that can give it to us.
Yeah.
So those kind of things, helping, and then promoting their business and services on my platform. So people who are connected to me, they know, and I make the song and the noise for them. So to get them what they need.
Yeah. Just explain a little bit for people who don't know what the FSB is.
So the FSB, Federation of Small Business, is a lobbying campaigning organisation. That lobbies that from the council level right up to the government level. So they will lobby on anything on behalf of the small business community. Just to give you one, great massive example, the furlough scheme and the grants that came in place during the pandemic were all lobbied on behalf of the FSB. They're the ones who sat with the government and said, right, these kind of things need to be in place for people to achieve, to help, and then the government listened. So those kind of things that they do, and then you got different campaignings that are happening. If it's affecting your business and your customers, so the FSB will help, in that and take that headache while you construct on your business.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And FSB, guys, as I said, I have been involved in some of the projects and things that they've done over the years, and they are, an incredible organisation who offers so much support. Some of it for free. They run seminars and workshops, and it's just so valuable. So if you are a small business owner or you're thinking of getting into something on the side, it is really, really valuable. We have had some comments. So we've got Cameron Salim, who I'm not sure who that is actually. No, I'm only joking, Cam. Good to see you guys. Good to see you too, Cam. Thanks for tuning in. One of our regular listeners, we've got Faiza Mustafa, who is asking. Because the FSB obviously offers so much support, as I've just mentioned, and Saf, you are a fundamental part of that with being a membership advisor, and you're so supportive to businesses. But Faiza is asking, how did the pandemic change your own business or your own kind of experience?
My two ways it changed, because first of all, I've always been working from home. When I was in my sales roles, as a field sales, so that side never wasn't new to me. But the biggest challenge that I had to face was when everything just shut. Right, everything's closed. Right, what do I do? How do I do? So what I then learned, in sales, we're always looking for opportunities. We're always looking a way of creating opportunity, and I looked at that everything is online. Everybody is home. Everybody's online. So how do I get my contents out there? And then, I tagged along, with people who do, videos, on Facebook or LinkedIn, live videos. And I thought, right, I'm not quite good at that. But what I can do is tag along with them, learn off them, and then do.
Brilliant.
And then that's
Fantastic,
how, when I came onto your show, Zoheb, that gave me a lot of, sort of confidence from there to put my own content and video change. So that was, biggest challenge for me. And I had to adopt it, because don't forget, we're talking here now.
Yeah.
We got people listening in their cars,
Yeah.
this is radio, and we got people listening on Facebook, but we don't know how many people of them are listening.
Yeah.
So I'm always thinking about how am I going to sound, how the content's going to come across, and you just got to go for it. And you got good quality people who do sort of this for their for their living. And I thought, right, learn off them. What do I need? And then they just go. And that was the biggest challenge that I had to learn.
Yeah.
Because all I'm looking at is looking at the screen, and I'm talking to a screen, and I don't know the response after, unless you start getting comments and the views. Then you know that you made a great noise.
Yeah.
So for me that was the biggest challenge. And then on top of that, it gave me so much sort of confidence from it when I attended quite few podcast shows.
Yeah.
And then I thought, and then just towards the end or the last quarter of of the 2020 year coming to an end, I launched my own podcast, which was a business chat, with Zaf, because I had a lot of businesses came on, and that helped me quite a lot to to attract my sort of work.
Well, I was just going to come on to that, because obviously I remember at the time you spoke to me as well, and asking about live streaming, asking about Facebook Live, and you know, a little bit about public speaking and how do I get my message across and stuff.
Yeah.
Was there ever a goal when you? So well, actually, first of all, I'll ask you how crucial or how we use this word pivot quite a lot. I think everyone used it during the pandemic. So I was asked how pivotal was that transition that you made from going from what you were doing and then thinking, well, I now need to get digital. I need to get into this digital world.
I mean, I've always been in the digital world, but not at that level.
Even more
because,
so,
like, you know, the digital, you know, for me was so like if I'm sitting here, in a post live, you're putting like you check in quality photos, right up, you know, what was that about, and people. But I never did it, live videos, at that, of me talking or my fellow, associates talking, and that was a bigger level. Because that's the market, that the way everything is. You have to, jump onto that bandwagon, otherwise you're going to be left behind. Because what you get is, and what I found is through people who do the professional, video contents, and they says that there'll be a time now coming where like normal calls that you're making, they'll start just going to be purely video calls, because of, and that's how the market is going.
That was the norm,
and you want to be part of that, at the start. During the pandemic, because we're doing WhatsApp calls with friends, because we couldn't see them, there was no interaction, so a lot of video calls. Now when I pick up a phone, someone rings me, it feels strange. I want to see them, because we've been used to looking at them through the video call. So now it's like, I want to do a video call, not a normal call. So, and that's how, a lot of people are out there as well, because we've got used to it. But I say, for businesses who are not in the digital world, they need to be in digital world.
And why should they
because
get into it?
Because you've got more, there are a lot of businesses online. The response is more powerful and faster than it is if you just do it as you are in normally. And if you've got products and services that can go online, do the online, because you got online shoppers who are always looking for deals. They always, some people love buying online, they don't want to do physical shopping. And I remember during the pandemic there were a lot of businesses, their best products that were selling, they took them and they put it online and they carried on, and the ones who didn't, they were left behind.
And it's fascinating, because what this really tells me is that digital is the way forward. Well, it's the place to be, and it's also the way forward. Now, in terms of how businesses can now adopt the same practices for themselves, you mentioned that they have to get into digital world now. But in terms of, let's say, how they interact with their audiences and their customers, we mentioned community. So in terms of how now a business can engage with their audience and community, how could they potentially use the digital sort of platforms available? Again,
you got your contents, you put it out there and you test, you put sort of questions or what do you think of this, and then you'll start to see what type of audience is out there, what attracted to your, to your services. And then you just have, those, sort of one-to-one engagements. That gives you enough sort of market, research of, I've got this product, this got the response. So you can engage with them that way. What do you think of this? I've seen a lot of business, a lot of posts where they've said, right, I'm thinking of having this. What do you think, guys? Is this feedback? And suddenly you've had loads of people commenting, and that gives them more. Well, it's a free way of doing a marketing, rather than getting somebody to come in. Now you can do that yourself. You can test the water as well.
What's the challenge of, let's say, some businesses who I've spoken to in recent years have said, well, I can't really do that because of what I sell, it's a bit more private sector, or I can't publish and post these things as freely as another business. So do you think certain industries are maybe unfortunate in that sense?
I mean, certain industries are, they're restricted because of what can they share, what they can't share. and it is, as what it is. I've come across a lot of businesses where they've said, well, I've got a website, never looked at it. And during this pandemic, they thought, right, we need to get that upgraded. They've had, they've been on Facebook, they've been on Twitter, they've been on Instagram, whatever platform. And they were just sitting there, never really did it. Now they're right, we need to, how do I work with? And I always say, there's always going to be somebody in your organization who's got those kids. Give them that.
Yeah.
Tell them what you want to post, what you want to share, and they'll do it.
Yeah.
So a lot of businesses have adopted as well.
Yeah.
Because now you have to have your normal content out there, and you've got at the same time you're going to have your digital as well. So your digital is going to be more up to date as well.
Yeah. So it's kind of finding that balance, isn't it, and striking that trying to find the best of both.
Yeah.
So let's say local Asian community. We've got a complete multitude of shops. We've got clothing shops, meat shops, supermarkets, takeaways, and there's just so many more coming out now. So for let's say a new business coming out now. I know I asked a similar question before, but let's say like with competition becoming so fierce now, and we've got so many more small businesses, what can they do straight away to sort of like almost set themselves apart? Do you think?
I mean, again, depends what what your business is. Don't worry about the competition. You got your product, you got your stuff. You believe in that. You do it the value that you think is good, because you will get that. The other good factor is apps, mobile apps, because when you got your regular customer, you know who they are. We're all living where we always look for apps, and on those apps you can push out your deals. So some of the deals that you're going to put out, like a happy hour, so if it's a restaurant, happy hour, come 12 o'clock till 3, a buffet, half price, whatever it may be. So that notification goes out to all of your customers you've got on your, sort of database. That mobile apps helps, quite a lot as well now. And a lot of businesses are doing, through that way.
Yeah. That's actually quite a great tip, because, as I said, I think it's incredible that we spend so much time on our phones. Maybe not everybody, but we are living in a world where our phone is our best friend almost. We're using it just so freely and instantly. But then as business owners, we then forget maybe how our own customers are interacting and how their behaviours are. So apps is I mean that's a very, very good tip. But going back to a little bit about community, what have you witnessed recently? Are there any sort of trends recently that you witnessed, or anything that like common challenges that, let's say, businesses face?
I mean, businesses face different types of challenges, but again, what I have seen is a lot of businesses come close. Again, because in the time of challenge that we're in, which we never faced, we probably heard years ago that these kind of things existed, but to actually feel and then have that impact on our businesses, affected emotionally, physically, in different aspects, and I've seen that sort of trend where they some of them wouldn't do business, others seeing it as a competition. Now they're interacting. The biggest one I've seen is outsourcing. A lot of people outsource work to some where they wouldn't have done it before, but they had so much work that they did, they can't come up with it and says, right, can you have that? And I've seen that, and that gave me a lot of satisfaction, happiness, because I see people coming close. Because smaller community businesses, that's what we are. If we look after each other's back and strong, then you can compete with the big organisation, and that's where they've seen, and that's where we've been strong, and they haven't been so strong.
Yeah. What about those who think, well, I don't know if I want to collaborate, and breaking through that stubbornness?
There were a lot of those, and some of that I went and see. I says, it's not about your ego now. Forget all your ego. As a business what you're good at, what you're not good at. Interact, because they'll help you as well, and you'll help, and together you'll make things happen, and you'll thrive through this. And that's the sort of the patterns that we've seen, and I'm sure you've seen that as well.
Massively. And it's like I said, it's really important, because I think as small business owners, or in a small business community, as you said, looking after each other is absolutely imperative, and when you do that, all of a sudden the value of your own business then increases as well, and you're constantly building, and you're providing an even better experience for your own customers.
So a lot of businesses at the start of the pandemic, when we were in the Zoom, they were doing things for free, where they wouldn't have done that ever, but they did it, for free,
Yeah.
right?
I found that incredible, by the way.
Which,
Yeah.
and I used that opportunity, gave me opportunity to look at my skills, what I'm good at, what I'm not good at, and it gave me a time that I need to upscale myself. I need to go another level. This is a perfect time because people do it for free. Want to grab the opportunity because he doesn't, he ain't gonna come by. And these are some of the top, entrepreneurs, players, movers and shakers, doing things for free because of the time that we're in.
Yeah.
Why not take that? And those businesses and those entrepreneurs, individuals that grasp, that took the opportunity, you sit with them now. They're saying, you know what, it's been a blessing.
Yeah,
That's what
they've
they're
reaped,
saying.
they've reaped the rewards from it. Was it challenging for yourself because you're thinking at that time, as I said, everybody's livelihoods and the world and income all of a sudden came crashing down, within the space of a few days or whatever. Was it? What did you go through emotionally?
Again, I come across businesses that they needed, help. They got sort of free help because they couldn't pay for some of your services. So that was a time for, let's just forget everything. Let's just help you in that sense. Yeah, and it's impacted because I couldn't do any face-to-face, appointments no more. But the other revolution I say is that we sat in, whether it's Microsoft Teams or Google Teams or Zoom, and it's been brilliant. And that now going forward, that's hybrid, because if you got clients now that don't want to see you, and there are some out there who are not comfortable, they've been used to sitting from home. Bang on, just let's jump on the screen. There's a link, and let's do business. Let's talk. How can we help each other?
Yeah.
So that will stay now, and a lot of companies will make a lot of profit from it.
Yeah.
Because of they can now get their staff to work remotely as well at times. It has paid off over the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Whereas before, the productivity level, micromanagement side, that you can't work from home. It's a must and everything. Now they're looking at we've had more work done again, because the biggest selling factor was six. So if you're out with friends and now it's Monday morning, you don't want to go in. You play, everybody play the sickie. And now it's like you can just, all right, you're sick or you got down COVID, you can still work. You can still, from your comfortable home, you can still do it. So there's so many pluses. We always, looking at, negative on this,
there's so many
but there's so
pluses,
many pluses that has happened. And again, and for those who like to create an opportunity, who like to adopt and change, it's been a blessing.
Yeah. Do you think people are maybe? I mentioned, small businesses being neglected at the start of the episode. Do you also think there's a sense of? Do you think we've maybe taken all this for granted as well? Because small businesses had so much help with furlough, with all these grants, with bounce back loans, and all these different methods which supported them. Do you now think? Have you seen examples of people who, like I've said, okay, well, I had my help, and I'm just going to carry on now.
There are, some of them. The support that came in was very good.
Oh, that's outstanding.
Because that really, that was needed.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, again, if you look at the other side of the coin, from that, there have been businesses who actually been naughty, where they went out of business and they took the opportunity. And there's been businesses who needed the help and didn't get help as well. And for me, that's been more, that's any unprofessional, unethical for them, to do that as well. But again, they are getting clamped out there. So, our government's been great, they've been blessed, they give out, but, they're going to clamp on those as well, because some people did took the opportunity to just take it and go off.
Yeah. How in your experiences have you found that businesses, so rather than just talking about a single business now, how can a community of businesses help shape that community? So, for example, the area that we're in, or Birmingham in general, we've got some areas which are so tight knit.
The one way it should be is collaborating. Having like we go to networks and we see businesses from and some of these business traders should do that themselves as well, where they can invite all of their customers. exhibiting. So you got everybody there, so they can share, ideas and see what different things are doing.
Yeah.
And it's a great way, not just looking at, all right, I'm a business, my cross the road fellow is a business, and then talk, because at the end of the day, what you've got is you make it unlock. Okay, whatever you have, customers, will come and you do it, but that doesn't mean that you neglect that person. So if there's more interaction of that and a bond, then the consumers will see that, and then that also inspires the consumers as well. They're saying, well, all the visitors here, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Different offers, different training. There's different many ways they can do it, and they can learn as well. There's certain skills that if you're my competitor, but you doing something good that I'm not, rather than me just again going back to ego factor and trying to see as a talent, say, wow, okay, so what are you doing?
Yeah,
and then you can adapt and change to that as well.
Yeah, and that's easily forgotten, isn't it? I think the fact that we can collaborate, we can also learn, we can also profit from each other in so many different ways now. I mentioned forgotten. I think one thing that I haven't mentioned on the show so far and in the promo leading up to this is that Azaf is also an experienced sales expert as well. He's a sales advisor. He's got a real skill for, you could say, unearthing kind of like the real USPs from a business and finding out what makes them unique and stuff. Any sort of tips without giving all your secrets away, Zaf, but any little tips you can give for let's say
I've come across a lot of businesses where they're happy to sell but hate to be sold.
Okay.
So in the business world, there's two things you always need: is ability to communicate, because you're going to communicate with all types of people, and ability to sell. It's your business, it's your way, it's your baby. So if you don't want to learn the actual sales skills, then hire quality salespeople, sales agents that will come in and they will thrive your business for you.
Yeah.
But I always say to business owners that learn that yourself, because it's your business. You need to know who your audience are. You need to know what they expect and what they're looking for. When you have that customer journey, then you can make your product very unique, very special, tailored, to them. And that's very, very important, because I come across businesses that say, I've got everything, I've got a website, and I've spent in thousands. And when you look at it, it is is a top notch. They're on every sort of social platform that you can think of. They're there, but they're not drawing traffic. Why is that? So that means that you can't just wait things to happen. You're gonna go make it happen.
Yeah.
And that is getting out there, seeing who your audiences are.
Yeah.
So where you've got a potential, then you can turn that into an actual.
Yeah. You often have challenges with businesses that they've got their business set up, you just mentioned, but they're then trying to find shortcuts through social media, paid ads, Google ads, but they haven't quite got the fundamentals.
Right. Sometimes the biggest one is that don't throw all your money, or don't throw all your eggs in the basket. If you're gonna say you do a social platform, try it, because some people, yourself as well, you're very good at because you're from the digital world background. Facebook has a different types of audience. LinkedIn has different types. Just because they're social platforms, that doesn't mean that I can put my stuff out there. You get whatever. LinkedIn will have a different response to what you put out as a content to your Facebook. So first of all, analyze your social platform, where you're getting more interaction from, where you get more views, where you see more positive response. And if you see more positive response from one particular platform, then I think that is your platform that you should have. Rather than say, I'm on Instagram, on Facebook, I'm on YouTube, have all that. It looks nice. But it means nothing to me. So if I'm looking at that, I'm thinking, well, that means nothing to me at all. Well, great, But then how are you going to engage? And through that, you'll know that there'll be certain products that might be, do well on LinkedIn, might not do well on Facebook, and vice versa.
And it's, like I said, it is really it's food for thought. It's it is a lot of food for thought, because it's almost like get the basics right first. Start from the ground up. before you start sort of trying to overcomplicate it. So currently, what sort of things are the FSB doing, right now? Yeah.
I mean, apart from lobbying organisation and any sort of members that are on, they do different types of workshops as well that helps your business in marketing, sort of courses. Again, giving more advice on tax as well, on your own basic bookkeeping. So you can get there, but you still need your professional accountants and to do it. But there's certain little things that you can do that can help your accountant for it as well. So you can prepare some of the basics. So these kind of sort of things that they put in place, and they also recommend to go to as well. So in your area, there's that organisation does that. It's good to go there, improve your leadership skills. So there's so much, resources. So as a business, when you come in, you come in as one. There's so many doors open for you.
Yeah.
That you can then take and embrace that, and that just improves.
Yeah. With the current rises in, electricity, bills, utility, general cost of living, as obviously we've seen has increased. What do you think? What do you forecast for this year for businesses and just the economy in general?
I mean, apart from we see prices going up in everything. Again, that's impacting so much in so many ways. If I just take you back to the start of the year, when we had a new variant in American variant, everyone was talking, right, is there going to be another lockdown? Is there going to be other things? And it hasn't. We've gone through that period. We're in quarter away into the year, middle of the year, we're in March. I see more positive clarity, more light in the tunnel for all of the businesses now, because they know where they are. There are areas where they certain businesses are struggling with, but that also improving as well. So as a business person, they can see that the end is light, because people are going back to live their normal lives.
Yeah. Is there a way that people can plan ahead for that? Let's say if there's let's say tomorrow on the news something else was to be
one
announced,
thing that we've all learned from here is that pandemic has happened. Can happen again, something else can happen.
Yeah.
So now is a time to preparing for future is always good.
Yeah.
That's where your goals come in. That's where your forecasts come in. Where do you want to be in 12 months time? Where do you want to be in 2 years? So you look at that, and then you fine tune your strategies, and then always do expect there might be a worse of it as well. So next time in something I hope it does happen, touch wood, but if something was to happen, you are prepared to actually take on and tackle that. Whereas for this one, again, when this happened 2 years ago, it just happened out of sudden. And it's like, what do we do? And then slowly we started to get back. So it can happen again. And this is what we say through the FSB, be part of the those organisations, because they're there to help you in so many ways.
How can businesses almost? You think the world has moved on, and it will move on, and it will continue to evolve. I do think COVID and the pandemic itself has changed the behaviour of everybody. Doesn't matter who it is. But for businesses, how can a business now, people listening, thinking like, okay, well, like how long do you think? Do you think people should just move on, or do you think business owners should still just be a little bit aware and a little bit kind of
you have to be
cagey?
aware, because you still don't know what's happening. So always look at what challenges can arise. So before you can see in the challenge, you be prepared to do it, but also move on as well. Because if we just sit back and just blame and play the blame card, right, you're not going to thrive, because there's business out there who look for a perfect opportunity, and they've gone and their principles. So as a business, if you aren't doing certain things, it's time still to open that up and have more room for improvement. Be part of more, have more quality, successful people in your life. Because they will help you in so many ways.
I mean, we've had guests on the show. Quite a lot of my guests have come through, meeting through networking and just generally meeting at various events and conferences and stuff. How crucial is networking to the growth of a small business?
You know what? So we're always networking. I mean, if you go out and you see someone, or you're going to a restaurant, you happen to talking, and someone say, "Well, what you do?" So sometimes we're doing things, but we don't realise.
It's funny how they have phrases and terms, but you're always doing it.
But networking is very, very important. Before, when I first came into the world of sales, the networking for me was certain sectors.
Yeah.
Now, over the years, it's grown. You see some businesses who normally didn't need to network, they want to network. And I find that networking is very, very important because you are learning. From every network organization that you go into, you're learning from it, you're connecting, and then you're growing with them because they have things, they can put you in touch with people that they've got contacts with and say, you know what, you're struggling with that, but I know somebody who can help you with that. And if you come to me and say, Zaf, you need to speak to, you need to speak to X, I'm not going to say this, I'm going to take your word because I know who you are because we've made that relationship. I say, well, Zoheb recommended, it's good. So straight away. So, and they can make that. And networking, it is important. So if you haven't done it before, it's a great way to do it. Because a lot of networking will support you. They will make the noise out
and again,
for you.
we go back to the word community here.
Community and network, and originally networking, that's what it is. It's platforms of community coming together. In one session, bite to eat. Okay, we call it gop shop. We're there to get together, which is right, but at the same time you're learning and you're adding quality people into your contacts.
Did you ever think? That you'd be starting your own podcast? After what you went through.
Honestly, when the pandemic happened and all that, the first thing is, well, how long are we in it? What's going to happen? Where are we going? That wasn't even the slightest in my mind at all. And when I saw a lot of everybody doing the podcasts, and then me being featuring and coming as a guest, that gave me a bit of uplift. I thought, you know what? They're doing it. I need to do it. And then I just did it as a test walk to see what it is, and some of the business that I knew, I says, come along, let's talk, and the impact of that was really great. And that's when I had a phone call from yourself, and you said, Zaf, you know what you're doing? This is some serious. You need to upscale it, and that's when I thought, you know what, I need to brand this. I need to take it, and that has helped massively. It hasn't just helped me, but it helped a person who's got a set up business. He needs to have a voice. He wants people to know. So rather than just saying, well, why don't you come? Tell me about your journey. Again, that's networking. Well, tell me who you are, what you do, but not in a 60-second or in a 1 minute or 2 minute. We got half an hour, and we'll go live.
Let's have a conversation.
We'll have a conversation. We'll have comments coming in because people talk about your brand, different ways, challenges, and everybody will know. Contacts will be there, and after that, you're building your contacts, and it's been absolutely fantastic.
And I still find it incredible that the pandemic almost it forced us to break out of our comfort zones. It made us do things that we maybe had on the back burners, or that we thought, okay, we've got this time now, we're going to seize it. Did you because you're, as I said, because you're an established member of the FSB, you're a sales advisor, you've been in business a long time. Did you feel a sense of responsibility that because you also hold your networking event, the Cobra Club, and so you were doing your podcast, you were doing your networking, you were doing all these free things.
You mentioned that networking. So normally, we go there, as a networker, and then to host your own. So again, that was something that if somebody said to me 2 years ago, did you ever do that? Not in the slightest. But it came to a platform. I thought, well, let's just create an opportunity for other business to go, because there are some business out there who are sitting lonely, who never, especially those who never networked before. They want to network. How do they do it? It's like, well, come on, we'll do it for you. We'll help you. So these little things help me, about a lot of the ways. And at the same time, it also, for me, was two things. Right, we're in the pandemic. A lot of things not going to happen, but it gives me a perfect platform, perfect opportunity to make contacts. And in 2 years' time, something will come off it, and he has. Some of the contacts now that I made 2 years ago, I'm talking to them now, so it just been. And then we've reached out to contacts which you normally wouldn't have reached out to, like the overseas, like with my sales work. I can help people with sales anywhere in the world. And the beauty is, whereas before you had to travel out there, that time's gone now. Now it's everyone's got technology. Like, where are you? Right, okay, you just got to adapt to there, or they're going to adapt to our times, or we're on their times, and you can still get your work done.
So all of a sudden it's opened up this new world.
It's opened up your global, a global market.
Everything.
Where you didn't want to, market your products and your services. Now you can. So many opportunities has happened from here. and yeah, it just, so I'll say, yeah, we were probably it was a revolution, just like our elders in the first generation business saying, yeah, there's a revolution for, West Midlands on the home to manufacturing industry, and that happened. And I'll say this, the technology with Zoom and stuff has been a hype.
Absolutely.
We are the ones, and coming in years ahead, we'll be the ones we'll be telling the tale, of how it's happened, how we all came together, and how businesses, and how we are now sitting in hybrid.
Yeah, well, as I said, I mean, I really hope people listening are taking notes, and they themselves will be taking advantage and exploring new opportunities that that can lie ahead. So what's next for yourself, Zaf? In terms of what are you working on at the moment, or what's the pipeline for yourself this year?
My pipeline for this year is again, because everything is out there back to normal. Businesses that were closed are open. They want people to come in, listen to the issues. So I have that as well. But at the same time, we're also concentrating on on, at the moment, working on my sales training stuff that we're putting together, that I'll be launching out soon. So there's a space for keeping that out for that. Yeah.
So these workshops, seminars,
the workshop, seminar sort of thing. Because now that we can go back into together a space, and there'll be workshops for people, especially who want to career change. People that have been in a different career suddenly find that to survive need a world of sales, and those sales have a different way, and then come onto that. Or rather working one-to-one is actually coming onto the training form and learning, and there'll be accredited certificate afterwards as well, which will be recognised by the employers. So if you are looking to go into the other companies, so there's a lot of logistics I'm working at the moment, but so all that is, so hopefully throughout the year,
passing on your knowledge, you'll be
so everything that I've had learned over 28 years with different sales strategies, with different things, is probably all into one sort of manual. And then it's like, you want to go into that sector, well, that's what you need for that. And then for that, you need for that. So you'll be steps up, levels of training courses.
That's fantastic. 28 years, people. I mean, look, that's it's a long time. A real vast experience that you're talking, and as I said, guys, if you are currently in a business, you're thinking of getting into a business, you maybe need some tips or a bit of help or confidence around selling. Zafran Khan is somebody who knows his stuff, and I'd fully recommend that you engage with him and you connect with him and you find out more about what he can offer. So we are kind of edging towards the end of the show now. Any final comments or reflections, Zaf, before we end?
Now, all I say is to everybody is be positive. The biggest challenge is look after your well-being. Have your right positive mindset, and if you're thriving, if you're fully motivated, then you can help your staff and get the best out of them as well. And stay safe and stay blessed. And it's an opportunity to learn. Just keep learning. Fantastic. So much positivity, so much wisdom that we've shared in the last 45 minutes or so. Guys, as I said, we've had a few questions. Any remaining questions, any final comments, please do get them in before we leave tonight. But Zaf, just want to say a massive thank you to yourself for coming on tonight. It's been absolutely fantastic. I'll say thank you to yourself as well. Again, so your beautiful show that was online, which went massive, absolutely brilliant. And then you what you achieved, so much in the last 2 years that we've seen. It's just been absolutely amazing as well to get it into the community. So some people who are not on the social platform, they can hear it from their home, from the radio. It's amazing.
So, And well, as I said,
and it's also thanks to Abgi Awaz as well, and brother Ikram Mirza, for having that platform to normally you get the commercial your big radios where they have a business hour and different for business community, and then someone like Ikram and Abgi was to reach out and say, we need business hour here, and they gave you that opportunity, and they gave same to to Muhammad Ali as well. He does his show on Tuesdays. It's perfect. So whereas I wouldn't have come here before, this is my second time that I've been invited, and it's great because the masses that couldn't see us on the social platform can hear us now, and the guests that you bring on every week as well. It's absolutely amazing from different diverse backgrounds. And I say all of that knowledge that is shared, and that is free opportunity. To take.
Well, I said, I'm firstly, I said, I'm really glad that you've enjoyed the experience today, and that you've been here the second time now. And what Zaf just shared there actually is a very important thing to end on, is the fact that this is a community radio station, and we have 3 community and wellbeing shows during the week, and again we're always discussing positivity and inspiration and topics that it could hopefully help listeners and inspire them.
Quick on finish, like what you said, Zoe, at the start, how can community come together? So Radio Upke it gives it that platform because of his way of helping. Is like bring on, because normal radio show is 2 things. Okay, you want to hear a debate, it's all about political debate and it's negative debate, or you want to listen to songs and other, which is still great. But to have a 1 hour of dedicated show where you get different entrepreneurs, movers, shakers from different sectoral backgrounds to come in and to share their journey, to share their tip. It's amazing. So Upgivers is really doing something for the community. And it's up to the community now to grasp and take that.
Absolutely, and there we go. And as I said, that's pretty much summed up what we were talking about tonight. So, guys, as I said, it's been a wonderful show. Thank you, Zaf, for coming on tonight. And guys, next week we're back again. The Zoe Show is back next Wednesday at 8 p.m. I've got my friend Rahini Makwana, who is a videographer, and she's really making moves in the digital world, as me and Zaf were discussing earlier. But that is all for tonight. As I said, we're back next week. And if anyone had any comments and we couldn't get to you, apologies. But as I said, please do connect with Zaf, and I'll tag anybody in those comments as well, so you can make those connections. Guys, thank you. It's been absolutely fantastic. Stay tuned for the comedy show next on your favourite community station, Radio Aapki Awaaz. Thank you very much.